homeless people and other people. And her mother superior, a Catholic nun, said, look, it's dangerous, what would you do? What's your strategy if somebody, tried to molest you, rape you? And she said, easy, madam, I would just lift up my skirt. What? And then I'd ask him to take down his trousers. What? You can't do that. And she said, no, because I can run much faster with my skirt up than he can with his trousers down. That's wisdom. So, like this wisdom, but also be careful, because people all know where the dangerous areas are, and don't frequent them. There's other places. If you go to nightclubs, then you're bound to get into trouble. If you come to the BGF, especially on New Year's Eve, safest place in town. I do believe in karma, but I always wonder, how does the first life exist? The first life of a human or animal does not have anything to be based on. Thank you, I love your talks. Okay, this is something I was telling in, it was in Malacca, I think. No, I actually told this in Trangana yesterday. A bit of science of Buddhism, bringing them both together. The first beings, or creation, because sometimes people will ask you that, your Christian friend, how do Buddhists believe this universe began? Now, I'm going to go back 500 years ago, when people in Malaysia, Europe, even China, we all thought the earth was flat. And if you travel in a ship far enough, you'll fall off the edge. We thought this planet Earth had a beginning and an end. It had boundaries. And it was actually not Copernicus and Galileo, it was the Chinese who first discovered that the world was actually round. You know what the Europeans are like? I'm one of them. We always take credit for everything. But the Chinese culture was way more advanced. They discovered this world is round. We all know that now. You go far enough, you just come back again. Many of you may have travelled around the world. I've been in a plane and gone around. Now, we all know the planet Earth is round, it's not flat. But I remember as a child doing science, wondering, where does the universe end? If you get a spaceship, like something out of Star Wars or something, you can go warp speed, and just fasten the speed of light, will you come to the end of the universe? Some brick wall, or some razor wire fence so you can't go any further? And I tried to contemplate, what would it be like finding the end of the universe? What would it be like? If there's a wall, there has to be something on the other side of the wall. If it's the fence, you can see through the fence. If there's a chasm, there has to be something on the other side of the chasm. And it never made any sense to me how you could have a boundary to the universe. And of course, as soon as I did science at university, I remember the lecturer getting a football out onto the table, a soccer ball, and saying, imagine an ant walking on this soccer ball. The soccer ball has a finite area, but no beginning, no end. You go round and round and round. And the ant will soon find that. So that is like our universe. The universe is curved. It has no boundaries. If you go fast enough, you never find an end, a wall or a chasm where this universe ends. That's basic science. Ask any astrophysicist that. That is accepted. The universe, no boundary to space. You go far enough, you come back again. Now, the next step, time. Too many people are flat timers. They believe in flat time. Time with a beginning or an end. Now that is just so 500 years ago. Because if you did have a beginning of time, what was before the beginning? What turned on? You have to have something turn on the switch. Existing before the beginning, or existing after the end. And I know that, putting aside all religion, philosophically that never made any sense to have a beginning. But what does make sense is like curved time. Time with no beginning, no end. Unbounded time. That's exactly what the Buddha said. Time, beginningless time. And just like everything else, like the earth being round, the universe being curved, even time turning back on itself. And even though, as a monk, I'm not supposed to watch movies, I did watch one recently. And it was because, it was important to me. It was, I think, called The Theory of Everything, the life story of Stephen Hawking, so far. And I did that because, that was where I grew up. And I knew many of the people in that movie. And I just wanted to see it because, I could relate to it. There was no sex, no violence, I thought it's okay for a monk. But I did know to the very end that Stephen Hawking was actually saying that now that his position, there's no Big Bang, Big Bang didn't start things, there was pre-Big Bang. And he said now he knows of a universe with no boundaries, no beginnings, no ends, no beginnings of time, no ends of time. Round and round, samsara. Now that is philosophically very satisfying. So anyone who believes in beginnings and ends, like a person who believes that the earth was flat, had a beginning and an end, a boundary. Now we all know different. And in, I don't know how long, we'll all know different. The time has no beginning, no end. It's not flat. And that would agree with the Buddha and also Professor Hawking. So that's your answer. Anyway, is an abattoir operator carrying heavy bad karma? What is the meaning of killing? Shall we need to kill to live? If you actually are running a slaughterhouse, there's other jobs you can do. I'm sure that if you're a Buddhist, ask a few other people, we'll get you another job to do, so you don't need to do that. Because seeing animals being killed obviously does really affect you. In my whole life, I've only ever killed one animal, and that was a mouse. My father had just died, and there was a mouse in the house. My mother was scared of that mouse. I don't know why, they did a tiny little mouse. So I volunteered, because my father died, to put out a mouse trap. And it worked, and I killed that mouse. And I remember just taking it up and seeing this beautiful animal and stroking it. It was so soft, it was a gorgeous animal, and I'd killed it. I felt terrible about that. I never realised what an animal was when you had it and it was obviously still. But I hadn't got that cold yet, and you could stroke it, see its beautiful face. I felt terrible. When you actually kill something, it does really affect you. Never again. So, what the meaning of killing is, if you have killed something, feel what it's like. It's so much different than going to a shop and buying a pork chop or whatever. But when you do it yourself, it really sort of strikes home to you. I don't want to do that. So try not to. It's easy to talk about opening out one's heart to be kind and compassionate, but what is the best and most reliable way to do it? It is actually a bit of meditation, but not just meditation. Brainwashing. That's what I do here. And every time a venerable gives a talk, you're all brainwashed. Even the middle story, down the ground floor, you get brainwashed down there. These floors can't stop the energy going through it. And after a while, the people we associate with affect us. That's why that story, the elephant, which is The Elephant Who Lost Its Happiness, was the title of the German edition of Good Bad Who Knows, which got to number 3 in the whole books in Germany. And that story, it's in the Good Bad Who Knows, was I'll do it very quickly, an elephant, really good elephant in the time of the Buddha or beforehand. But his character started to change. Instead of being compliant, he would always refuse to do what he was asked. She was asked, sorry, it's a female elephant. When the trainer was, or the people looking after were right behind, he would wait till the trainer was right behind before he pooed, and would always squirt things at everybody instead of being a good elephant. He became a bad elephant. And the king didn't know why, but the vet there, psychologists, everything trying to figure out why this elephant has suddenly become a bad elephant. And no one could find out the reason why, so the Bodhisattva, the former story of the Buddha, comes from Ajahn Brahm. decided, I will find out. I went to stay next to the elephant store and meditated all night. And in the middle of the night, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, the minister was disturbed. Somebody was talking right behind the elephant store. It was a group of robbers, bandits. And they were planning their bad deeds that night. And who they're going to beat up for not paying their debts, what houses they were going to rob. And they were such bad people, even though elephant doesn't understand human language. The vibes, the stuff coming off these bad people was actually affecting elephants. And so the minister had all those robbers arrested by the king the following night and asked monks to go and meditate and discuss Dhamma behind the elephant stall. And just the association with good monks, even though you couldn't understand what they were talking about, just being there was enough for them to change their character. Or for the elephant to change, became a good elephant. And the moral of that story is, if you do have bad husbands, bad wives, bad kids, send them to the temple. They're hanging around really good monks, and soon they become good people. But the problem is, you send too many of your bad kids, they will affect the monks. Very, very strong. So what's happening there, actually you are getting influenced by going to good places, associating with good people. You actually do start to open the door of your heart by just osmosis, because other people around you do. So please choose your friends wisely. That's why it's great to bring your kids to a place like this. How to help the victim of abuse learn the true meaning of love.